There's one question I get asked more than any other, and it comes in several variations. What'd you do to get into tech? What was your first tech job? Did you have to go to college? Is it tough to get into tech? But what they really want to know is, what do I need to do to get into tech? Welcome to Digital Decision Makers, where we talk IT from a leadership perspective. My name is James Grover, and let's talk about this. So, how do you get into tech? This seems like a simple, innocent question, but people don't realize how much of a loaded question this really is. So, imagine you go into someone's house for a get-together, or maybe a football game or whatever. Then you get a call from somebody, and you know the person, but they're more like an acquaintance, not a friend. But anyways, they say, hey, can you stop by the store and pick up some salad dressing? Okay, thanks, bye. Have you ever been to a grocery store? Have you seen how many salad dressings there are? Do they want ranch? They have like 15 different ranch dressings there. They have more Italian dressings than I can count. Roasted red pepper, raspberry vinaigrette. Did they need it for the wings? Oh, I guess they need blue cheese. This is kind of what it feels like when someone asks me, how do I get into tech? Like that salad dressing, it's easy enough to buy one, but which one do you buy? It's exactly the same in tech. People think of tech as computers, but what they don't realize is that there's so many different disciplines or flavors within the tech. And to make it worse, there's just about as many different ways to get into tech. With this in mind, I tend to steer people in a particular direction. I tend to steer people toward cloud computing. Cloud computing? Yeah, cloud computing. And I can already see the expressions. I asked this guy how to get into tech, and he tells me cloud computing. I'm glad I didn't ask him to play basketball. He'd tell me to join the NBA. So let me back up a little bit, and trust me, I have to do this every time in real life. So when we say cloud computing, it's an easy way to package sort of a specific discipline or application in tech. The major players within the space are going to be Amazon Web Services, AWS, or Microsoft Azure, or Google Cloud Platform, or GCP. Now, there's some other players in the space, such as DigitalOcean, but I would pick one of the top three and dig in. So what do I mean by dig in? Well, go onto YouTube. Go watch some videos for these platforms. Go sign in to some online classes. And no, this isn't a cop-out. This is going to open the door for you. Unless you're already in tech, some of this stuff is difficult to visualize. I mean, cloud computing, there's no computers in the sky, right? So go watch some videos, and after watching a few videos, if you feel excited or enthusiastic, maybe it's time for you to sign up for an account. For example, AWS allows free access for a year on new accounts. Same with Google. They offer time-box free services. Most of these platforms, they want people to come onto the platform, so they offer free services for a period of time. And so why do I say jump into cloud services? In order to talk through this, I need to explain how and what the cloud really is. So back in the days, around 2006 or so, Amazon is really emerging on the scene as a disruptive retailer. But put yourself in their shoes. You have a website that sells stuff. Let's say you built that website on one server. Guess what? Whenever a holiday comes, like Mother's Day or Valentine's Day, they're going to get hit with a surge of traffic. And we're not even talking about Christmas. For sure, that's going to take the site down. So that means Amazon had to prepare for each day like it were Christmas. So this is going to ensure that the site stays up every day, all day. But for most of the year, they're going to have all this extra capacity. They're prepared for, let's say, 1 million customers a day, but on a normal day, they may only get 10,000, for example. So what do they do with all this extra computing power? It's genius, really. They figured out that they could package it and sell it. Boom. That's the birth of cloud computing. Amazon figured out that they could break things down into services, then sell the consumption of those services. S3, also known as Simple Storage Solution, was one of their first services. So, for example, has anyone ever heard of Dropbox? That was an early application built in AWS using S3. And just to put things in perspective, so let's think pre-cloud computing, before cloud computing. If you wanted to create a service such as Dropbox, what would you need to do? You'd need to rent a data center. You'd have to fill it up with a ton of web servers, hard drives. You'd have to get it connected to the internet, you'd have to get circuits set up. I mean, how much money would that cost? How much time would that take? It takes months to get circuits set up for connectivity to the internet. But in AWS, you could build the website and leverage the storage using S3. Takes a few minutes. Amazon would just bill you for the S3 usage, which is like 3 cents per gig or something like that. See how much cheaper and easier and faster it is to use the cloud? Fast forward to today. AWS offers tons of services. Same with the other cloud providers like Azure and GCP. They all have their strengths. But at the end of the day, they put the power of high-end computing into the hands of anyone that wants to use it. And this ranges from AI, ML, or artificial intelligence and machine learning, to video and speech recognition, all the way down to regular type stuff. By diving into one of these cloud providers, you'll be exposed to several disciplines within tech. For example, let's say you wanted to create your own Dropbox type app. Or better yet, let's say you wanted to create a site where you could upload photos and the site would auto-resize them for Instagram or whatever. By doing that, you're going to learn about DNS, and firewalls, and networkings, and NAT gateways, and encryption, storage, and all this stuff. And see, these concepts aren't dependent to cloud providers. So if you learn these things like a firewall, if you know what a firewall is, you're going to know what that is and what it does regardless of a cloud provider. Oh, and mental note, there's step-by-step instructions online to create this exact type of website. I'll put a link in the description below. By diving into a cloud provider, you're going to be exposed to several disciplines within technology. You'll get a feeling for what you like versus what you don't like. Then you can gravitate toward that specialty. If you tend to lean toward security, for example, then you can specialize in that area. So yeah, I would say cloud computing. Furthermore, this paves the way into getting certified. And I'll talk about how much value I actually put in certificates in a later video. But if you're just trying to get into tech and have a level 1 certificate, that at least tells somebody you have a base level experience to handle an entry level or junior position. If I were getting started right now, I would look at sites like A Cloud Guru. They provide clear learning tracks along with labs for hands-on learning. And don't worry, again, I'll put links for all this stuff in the description. This is just a taste. There's so many pathways and disciplines within tech. You have to keep in mind that many of the people asking these questions haven't broken into the tech field yet. So you can't just start talking tech jargon. You have to explain things in a way that they'll understand. And along those lines, you have to provide a pathway that is simple to understand. In this case, the pathway would be AWS, Azure, or GCP. Once you open Pandora's box, you'll either be enchanted or you won't. That's going to wrap it up for this episode. Please let me know what other topics you'd like me to cover in the comments below. Make sure to click the bell to get notified whenever I drop a new video. You never know, we may be covering your topic next on Digital Decision Makers.